Karma is inevitable. It is not rumor, it is law. It is written into the wiring of creation. The same way gravity don't miss, karma don't miss. The same way a seed must sprout, an action must return. They can run from people, they can block you, they can erase texts, they can move to another city, but they cannot dodge the echo of their own actions. That echo is karma, and it always finds its way home. The universe saw everything, every tear you cried in silence, every night you prayed for them while they lied on your name, every forgiveness you gave when they swore they'd change and didn't, every second chance, every third chance, every 100th chance. The universe don't forget. It keeps receipts the way oceans keep salt, and those receipts get cashed in at the most inconvenient times for them. They didn't fumble a partner, they didn't fumble a fling, they fumbled their lifeline, they fumbled the gift, and the rope they cut is now wrapped around their own ankles, dragging them down every step they take. That's why they can't sit still. That's why they can't enjoy silence, because silence exposes them to themselves. They fill it with noise, with drama, with drink, with smoke, with bodies, with arguments, with distraction. It don't matter how much noise they pump into their life. When the lights go off, their own thoughts get loud. They can't drown regret. They can only delay hearing it. And that's why they look like they're thriving but can't stop twitching, can't stop searching. They are haunted right now. They are thinking of you right now. Even when they're wrapped up in someone new, even when they're front row at the party, their mind flickers back to you. You are the ghost they wrestle with. The one that shows up in the middle of the night, in the middle of arguments, in the middle of their fake laughter. You don't fade, you grow louder, because you weren't just supply. You were stability, peace, grounding. Nobody else forgives like you did. Nobody else believed like you did. Nobody else saw the cracks and still offered healing. And they know it. That's why they scroll your social media in the shadows. That's why they hover without speaking. They stalk because contact feels impossible. Their shame is the wall. Their regret is the cement. Their arrogance built it, but their own actions sealed it. And now they peek over that wall like children, because the truth is you are unforgettable. No new supply compares. None. They might be younger, flashier, louder, but none are you. No audience claps as loud as you did. No friend rides as hard as you did. No lover forgives as deep as you did. That's why silence is heavy. That's why your absence is punishment. You don't gotta swing. Your peace swings for you. And the universe don't waste energy. All the supply they drained from you, all the worship they tried to steal, all the lies they stacked on your back, it comes back to them. Energy returns to sender. That's not poetry, that's physics. What goes out comes back heavier, wrapped in fire, pressed down, multiplied. It sits on their chest when they oversleep jobs they can't afford to lose. It follows them into relationships that collapse faster and faster. It rides shotgun when they drive around with nowhere to go. It shakes their hands when they try to act smooth in public. It cracks their voices when they try to argue in control. It stains their confidence when they walk into a room and people side-eye because the reputation already beat them there. They lose jobs. They lose friends, they lose money, they lose family ties, they lose health, they lose credibility. And every time something slips, they blame somebody else. But in the quiet, they know. They know the pattern is theirs, they know the seed is theirs, they know the harvest is theirs. Because the cruelest part of karma is this: while they decline, you rise. While they stumble, you glow. While they scroll, you thrive. Your photos feel like a knife, but the knife is one they sharpened themselves. They once thought they were the sun and you were orbiting. But they wake up one day and realize they were the satellite and you were the star. That is divine justice. That is cosmic balance. That is the truth the universe never forgets. A man who abandoned his family for ego sits in a small apartment with old takeout boxes, scrolling through photos of kids who don't return his calls. A woman who weaponized her beauty watches age strip her advantage and finds herself invisible, screaming for the validation she once drowned in. A friend who betrayed loyalty for gossip sits alone at a table, phone silent, circle gone. A boss who exploited workers wakes up unemployed, reputation shredded across the industry they once bragged about owning. A lover who cheated for thrills spends birthdays in silence while you laugh in photos surrounded by light. A parent who manipulated children sits elderly and isolated, those children now thriving oceans away. A narcissist who ran off with a shiny new supply watches that supply turned cold, repeating the same wounds they once inflicted. A liar who built an empire of half-truths finds the empire crumbling, humiliated by the receipts. A manipulator who gaslit everyone around them calls for help and finds no one listening. And the narcissist who believed they were untouchable ends up in therapy decades later, whispering confessions into a room where no one can save them. The universe saw everything. It saw the messages they deleted, the lies they told, the way they paraded arrogance while knowing the truth. It saw the nights you held on when you should have let go, the days you stayed when you should have run, the prayers you whispered hoping for change. And the universe don't miss. It bends back. Not always quick, but always sure. And here's the part that makes them choke, the glow. Watching you rise, watching you heal, watching you build, watching you laugh again, watching you live unbothered. That glow is their deepest regret, because you were never the problem. You were the gift. You were the salvation. And they fumbled. That's the regret that don't fade. They become reckless. They lose stability, they spiral, they self-sabotage, because the energy they misused returns to them like a storm. And storms don't ask permission. The universe don't take bribes. God don't miscount. What they gave, they get. What they broke, breaks them. And you stand tall, stoic, the chosen one, the empath rooted in truth. You don't need revenge, you don't need exposure, you don't need to scream your case. Your silence is the sermon, your glow is the evidence. Their regret is the punishment. And the universe saw everything. They start to notice people slipping away one by one. Friends don't call like they used to. Family shows less patience. Even the flying monkeys, the ones who swore they'd ride forever, get quiet. Because everyone gets tired of being drained. Energy don't lie, and the narcissist's energy is rotten now. What once drew people in now repels them. What once looked like charm now looks like chaos. They can't stand solitude, but solitude becomes all they have. They try to fill it with noise, TV blasting, phone in hand, scrolling endlessly. But no matter how many videos they watch, how many feeds they refresh, the silence creeps back. Because silence carries memory, and memory don't let them forget you. They are alone with their choices, and that loneliness is a sentence they wrote themselves. They think about reaching out, but shame is a chokehold. The words die before they type them. The number hovers on their screen, but they can't press call. Because what do you say to the person you tried to destroy, the person you smeared, the person you betrayed? Sorry, don't cut it. And they know it. So they sit in silence, stuck between regret and pride, and that limbo eats them alive. Their mind betrays them in little ways. They see your favorite color in a stranger's clothes and flinch. They hear a song you loved in the grocery store and freeze. They smell a perfume that reminds them of you and spiral. The world itself becomes a mirror, throwing you back at them when they least expect it. That's how the universe works. Reminders everywhere until the lesson gets learned. Even their wins feel hollow. They land a job, but the joy don't last. They buy something new, but it feels old in a week. They get attention from someone new, but it fades quick. Because they know what they lost. They know what it felt like to be loved for real, and everything else tastes like cardboard in comparison. Success without soul is failure in disguise. The universe never forgets, and neither do they. Their chest stays heavy with what they did. They remember the look in your eyes when you caught the lie. They remember the sound of your voice breaking when you begged for honesty. They remember the way you stood tall even when they tried to shrink you. They remember. And memory is karma's favorite weapon. And while they spiral, you keep growing. You laugh with real joy. You love with real peace. You move with real strength. You build without their shadow blocking your light. And that growth is the sermon they can't unhear. Every move you make forward is a reminder that they went backward. Every step you take higher is proof they fumbled. That's why karma is inevitable. Because the universe doesn't miss. Because God's math is perfect. Because what you give, you get. And they gave lies. They gave betrayal. They gave arrogance. Now they live inside the consequences. And the cruelest part is this. They'll think about you until their last breath. They'll scroll, they'll regret, they'll ache, and they'll know they lost the real thing. That is the sentence. That is the balance. That is the law. So you stand tall, stoic. You don't chase, you don't explain, you don't beg. Your silence is the verdict. Your glow is the evidence. Your peace is the punishment. They thought they hurt you, but all they did was carve their own downfall. and the universe saw everything. God don't miss, karma don't forget. And in the end, they'll watch you rise while they sink, and that will be the truest justice. And that's the truth. Karma don't miss, the universe don't forget, and God keeps all the receipts. They thought they buried you, but all they did was plant you. You're growing, they're sinking, and that's the balance they got to live with. So if you felt this, drop your thoughts in the comments, share this with somebody who needs to hear it, and make sure you subscribe, because this is the NARC OPP, and I promise you, we're not letting up.